Alrighty. Okay, welcome back, guys, to the Lamb Flipping Formula public live session. No one's here yet, so I'm gonna wait for a little bit. But I'm really excited. This is being recorded on YouTube, so you should be able to see this live. But welcome to everyone to another Lamb Flipping Formula live session brought to you by the Land Investing Pros, Paul and Willie. I'm Abdil, land investor and coach. I'm actually really excited to be here. It's been a while since I've done these. And typically I do this every week, but I've been thinking because of everything that's going on right now in the business, I'm going to have to do it maybe bi-weekly. And then, of course, I speak to some of you out there. I have like 12 messages to get back to on the Facebook group. So I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. But today, a really important day. I think this topic is very essential for anyone who is starting out in land investing. Is the three things that I wish personally that I wish that I knew when I was starting out. And I know there's a lot of misinformation out there. I know there's a lot of programs and a lot of software and a lot of fancy things that will try to get you to buy in and do their whole process and program and so on. So I just want you to be aware. It doesn't mean it's not good that there's not good information out there. I'm just saying be careful with the information you find out there. Now, you want to make sure that you're starting right on the right foot, and you want to make sure that you're not wasting money and time. And with that being said, I want to jump right into actually one of my favorite parts. A big shout out to one of my very own partners, deal partnerships. I guess a student that I coach. His name is Austin Weiss. He's in the group. Check him out for his recent acquisitions. 2 acquisitions. I think it's been a month and a half, maybe 2, and 2 more pending. He just started fresh to land investing, so pretty excited for him. And he has more leads coming in. This was his first letter campaign, I believe. So congratulations, man. I am so excited to see you get more properties and be able to put them out for them to sell. That's always really exciting when you get a property and it's in your name, because now it's like you own land, and that's always kind of very eye-opening that this is actually pretty real. Now you have to sell it, right? So you're halfway there. Okay, if you're watching this live, guys, comment live. If you have any questions, of course, comment in below. I will try my best to answer them as I go through and as I explain what I want to share today. Also, if you're out there and you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. We try to do this as often as we can, and we try to give out as much information as we can to help you guys out and get started. This is very much for beginner to intermediate level. Sometimes I go into more complex stuff, but for most times I keep it pretty simple. And I think that's the best way to keep a business. If it's too complicated, it's probably not the best way to go about it. So let's jump right into the 3. And the number one thing that I wish I knew very well when I was starting out, and that I always tell my students when I'm starting this, is that this is a numbers game. It's very much a numbers game, as much as it is for acquisition and for sales. And I don't know if you've heard of the law of averages, but just a quick explanation of it basically is for every time, let's say if I was knocking doors trying to sell vacuums, for every 30th person that I spoke to, I sold 1. That would be my average, right? 1 vacuum per 30th person that I spoke to. So that means that I would try to speak to 120 people if I want to sell, 3 vacuums, right? And that doesn't mean you'll get it every time. It's just an average. And what I see a lot of times is I see frustration and impatience in a lot of new land investors, and fear and doubt about their strategy and the way they're going about. Maybe it's right and it's just taking so long. I mean, if it's past 6 months and if you sent out thousands of letters and you haven't gotten anything, then you're doing something wrong. But if you're just starting out and it's 2 months in, like Austin here, and or 4 months in, it does take some time for you to get it right. That's why it's important to get a good strategy, but also it's important that you understand this is a numbers game. And you want to know a good strategy and implement a good strategy so you can use those numbers, or have those numbers work in your favor. That's pretty much all you can do, is do the best that you can, right? For example, in choosing your markets, doing a good market analysis, knowing how to choose a market, a hotspot, that will provide that can get you more leads, so that way you can actually acquire properties. And the same thing with selling. um, Setting the right offers, big one, for sure. There's if you send an offer that's too low, or too high, you're not gonna make as if you buy that property, you're not gonna make as good of a profit as you would if you actually sent a good offer. You'll notice it. You'll start noticing it, in your area, what the right offer is. Pretty much when you're doing a market analysis, you're trying to find that range, right, of where that sweet spot, the 20 to 30% market value is, and you want to sell that for market value or above. That's just the rule of thumb that I go by. Um, Another big one is accessibility, guys. Being able to have a smooth process throughout your business. Basically, something you can rinse and repeat for um, the sellers and the buyers. For example, if it's taking too long, or there's too many kinks or holdups in transferring the title over to yourself, or getting everything started to transfer a title over to a cash buyer, then that needs to be smoothened out, and you need to learn how to do those things. That way, with that, with the smoothness, you'll be able to get as much in the pipeline and more deals done monthly. That's literally, how business should be. It should be consistent. You should be acquiring property, pretty much about as much as you are selling, or more, right? If you're selling, like for example, Willie, last time that I spoke to him, it was like 200 properties that he's acquiring monthly, and he's selling like 130 or 140, something like that. That's really good. That's really big volume of course, for Willie. He's been doing this 5 years, and he has a lot of capital. He's invested on this, and he created this strategy that we follow. For me, it's about the same rate, but at a smaller scale. It's like 30 a month or so, and then acquiring about 10 or so, 20 sometimes, and then it just really depends on the month. You have to understand that the law of averages is not always just so dead on. It goes up and down, and from week to week, and even from month to month. So you do have to be patient with that. But you can always make good money if you just stick it out. And I think one of the funniest thing that Willie said to me one time, and it was actually it was on I think he said it in the course videos. He said, you could be the stupidest person, like a complete idiot, and still do this right if you just keep your composure through the times where most people would lose it. And that stuck with me. If you just keep heading on in that direction, if you know you're doing it right, if you know the strategy works and you see other people, it's proven, then keeping that composure, being patient with it, that's the way you're going to succeed. Because for me, it took 6 months for me to actually have 4 deals done. And after that, it took another 6 months to see more consistent growth. And now up to another year, to see the numbers that I'm seeing now. It's 30-20 ratio or so, in acquisition and selling and so on. And that's literally what you're going to see. And it's just being consistent with it and sticking to it. Another big one, the number 2 thing that I wish I knew and that I want to share with you, is knowing how to leverage money. Basically, use other people's money. I started out with $5K, and I was acquiring properties for like $300, $500, selling them for like $1,200 to $2,000, sometimes more. But those were my first 4 deals, and even after that, a little bit more. Excuse me. And typically, what this allows you to do is basically to have all the capital that you personally have and invested into the marketing and scaling of your business. If somebody else is funding the acquisition, funding the deals that you have, you're setting under contract, then you have all the rest of your capital to invest in marketing, so you can invest in a better sales strategy, whether it be ad campaigns or email campaigns or whatever it be, and a website or so on. All of that is very essential to scaling or automation. You basically you're going to, for example, for me, I'm going to use my example in my business right now. My investors, and my capital is tied up. I'm getting more leads to acquire property than ever before. So I need more people to invest to help me leverage more money. So I am expanding out, and I actually have posted on my Facebook and other places, and I've talked with other investors about doing joint ventures. And that's what you should focus on when you're just starting out. I mean, I understand people might understand or might kind of get a glimpse that you're not as seasoned as most investors. But if you know the strategy and just be confident, you'll find good networking, good people out there that will fund the deals, work with you. So doing joint ventures and networking with other people will take you a lot farther than if you try to do it alone. Because I actually can acquire the deals that I'm getting, the extra deals that are coming in. I'm just making myself not go for them. Why? Because I want to use the capital that I have more specifically into scaling my business, the marketing, and everything else that needs to be taken care of, so I can get more sales and get more properties under my business name and so on. I want to smoothen out more of my strategy, basically hone my craft, and that does cost money. It does cost some expense. It does take an investment on those. So definitely finding somebody and networking with people, either to joint venture, private lenders work as well, or partnerships just in general. They really work well. So, I mean, you look on Paul and Willie, they work together on this as well. For me, I worked with Aaron and he coached me. And most of you probably don't even know Aaron. I just threw names that you probably don't know. But if you look at the past videos, they're great. I really, really advise you to go back to either the marketing analysis videos if you're just starting out, how to set the right offers. Those are great videos if you're just starting out, because those will actually help you in the very starting stages of your business. Because for one, the first thing that you need to learn how to do is how to choose a good market, and how to send out a good offer if you're doing blind offers. After that, I mean, you're not going to be able to, if you don't know how to do that, you're not going to acquire property, which means you're not going to be able to sell anything. So you're not in business. So let's get you started with that. Learn a good strategy. We obviously have a strategy here, the land flipping formula. You can check it out at landinvestingpros.com. We are running a promo code on it, and it's $150 off of the course. You can check it out. You can email me at the email below. I'm pretty sure I included it there. If not, I'm going to say it. A as in Apple, Herrera at landinvestingpros.com. Alrighty. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Jumping into the next one, and I think it's actually pretty simple, because it literally is just to start simple. If you have big capital, I suggest that you go into a more aggressive marketing strategy for, whether you need to send out 1,000 to 5,000 letter campaigns or so on. If you have the capital, go for it. I do, however, advise you that you get the strategy right first, that you understand what you're doing before you even just start sending out letter campaigns. Something that you can pretty much rinse and repeat. Now, the next thing you want to focus on is just pretty much scaling your business, right? So if you do have the big capital, then definitely focus on automating your business and, of course, networking, leveraging more money, because you're going to scale to the point where it'll be consistent, that workflow, and then you can smoothen out everything else that you need to in your business. For those who don't have as much capital like I did when I started out, definitely focus on learning the strategy, again, like the big capital people. And then, of course, focus on networking, specifically just focus on networking. Don't invest too high on the expensive software that's out there. I get a lot of people who come and talk to me and say, I have my Pat Live already set up and everything, and I pay this much for a phone system or something like that. You don't really need all that. It's not necessary because, for one, you're gonna get like 30 leads at most, 50 leads or so, and most of those are gonna email you or call you by phone. I would suggest you just use your personal phone number, and if they don't reach out to you, leave a voicemail, right? And I still do that, and it works just fine. I get voicemails on my phone, and I just reach out to them. It's simple like that. Willie started out that way. I think he just recently changed to a Pat Life some systems, but he answered his phone up to 3 years, I believe, of business. So that just goes to show you don't really need anything that fancy. Just you obviously do need the systems and services required, for example, for mailing campaigns like REI Pebble from REI Conversion, right? Or a letter printing company of some sort. You need either price data tree to download data. All that is necessity. That's all out of necessity. So if you have the capital for that, you're ready to get started and rolling. And then, of course, some capital as well, something to budget for marketing. You're going to need either a website if you're getting a lot of leads and a lot of acquisitions, or do what I do. Email campaigning is pretty much the best way, for me at least. It gets them on the phone with me, and then I'm all about sales. I'm all about talking with people on the phone. So, guys, thank you. I think this is pretty much it, the three things. So you guys remember, it is a numbers game. The law of averages works. So just be patient with it. Learn a good strategy. Learn how to pretty much choose a strategy that'll help those numbers work in your favor. And then leveraging money, using other people's money. Pretty much what that means is just network and joint venture with other investors or private lenders. Focus on scaling and keeping it simple. So getting the strategy down and so on, that's all very important. But remember, you don't want to invest in something that's too fancy or is not even necessary for the strategy that you're using. In the very beginning, at most, you're going to be using a letter printing company and a data, like something like data tree to download and scrub data. And you can even use Excel to scrub your data. You don't even need that much. But that's pretty much it, my guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you're interested in the formula, in the Lamp Flipping Formula course, comment formula below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, it's always a pleasure. This is Abdiel signing out.